I have come back again. Let me just see. Yes, it's live on the YouTube now. My sincere apologies because
Perfect, fine.
it was beyond me. I just couldn't help it. Uh, People, thank God, they informed me that it was not going live on the YouTube. It was just getting recorded, and we were thinking that it is live. So I'm sorry.
No, no, it's perfectly fine. Thank you.
It's just beyond me. So what we will do, what we will do that um, let's recapitulate once again, because what we recorded over here, combining two of the videos would be little difficult for us. So what I would take on from there is your views on how India should promote its tourism, how Indian tourism can help India to grow to the 5 trillion economy, the vision of the Prime Minister. And at the same time, the G20, which has come to India, how that can also support, we can quickly recapitulate. And people, those are joining us on the YouTube, kindly let me know now. Can you see us now? Let's see. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So I would like to recap about the subject. So I'm very happy to see that the vision of the Honorable PMG
Prime
is to
Minister. Yeah.
yes, is to have the 5 trillion economy, which is wonderful in this sector. Wonderful thought. He himself likes to like show the various parts of India to the leaders who come from all over the world. As I was mentioning that the leader of France was there in Chandigarh, like in few years ago as well. One of the key elements that I was trying to specify is the domestic tourism. That really helps. And I wish that in the G20 summit, there is actually going to be a focus and the emphasis on the domestic side as well. Tourism within India has huge potential, huge, like really huge. You name anything, like mountains, landscapes, waterfalls, and so many cultural diversity. So there is, I mean, like you go from one point to another point in India, north to south or east to west, there's lots of things which actually India can offer, and India does offer. With the domestic tourism on the rise, the economical boost is going to happen. Multiplier effect is going to happen. And when that happens, there's more of employment which will take place. And eventually, what's going to happen that the struggling middle class is actually going to get an economical boost always. So we all work in different professions over here. We know that, I mean, like we meet people from all walks of life. But one thing which is a common factor, which actually gives an economical boost, is our industry over here. Tourism is a word which brings a smile to someone's face. Tourism is a word which is actually going to make us vision, oh, let's go for a trip. Now, right away, we think about ocean, we think about landscapes, beautiful sceneries, waterfalls, or some kind of water sports fun, like jet skiing as an example, depending, like upon your own interest. So that is something which really brings a smile on everybody's mind and face as well. So this is one sector that I would really hope and wish that our honorable PMG Modi ji gives, and he has been doing, but he himself, one man cannot do it everything on his own. We are responsible. I love India. I don't live in India, but I love India within my heart. That's why I'm saying that what India has to offer, the other parts also offer almost the same thing. But what happens is that the development of the infrastructure, which eventually gives an economical boost, is going to help spread the domestic tourism within India
Wonderful.
very strongly.
Wonderful. I've got three, excuse me, points to share with you, and you can elaborate in your own way. The first thing which comes to our mind when we think about domestic tourism, and we just held the program, yesterday only, where we talked about tourism teachers. And day before yesterday, excuse me, we took on the journey where we talked about that why domestic tourism should not be the integral part of our school education curriculum. Now, I've got 3 points to share with you and you can elaborate them. First is, how do you look at it that the domestic tourism, that means any country's culture, heritage, life, living style, costume, dances, colorful festivities and cuisine, everything, it should be the part of the curriculum in the school education. That is first part. Second part is, which comes over here, the technology is coming in a very fast way. And new education policy 2020, which we have adopted in the thick of the pandemic, that boosts and that gives a lot of leverage to where the technology boosting, which we call adopting technology. So in tourism also, technology is coming in hotel industry, tourism industry, travel industry, whether you travel by road or by train or by air or whatsoever by modes of travel. And the third part which comes to the mind is that is the teachers. Those have to take up tourism as a subject, as a vocational teachers. Why not the corporate sector of tourism industry should come closer to the educational arena, particularly of the teaching institutions, that is the B.Ed colleges and others, where the teachers are being made, developed and sharpened, and future teachers, they are being groomed over there. Why not the corporate sector of the tourism work together? So these 3 points, if you could kindly elaborate in your own perspective, what is your vision on that?
Thank you. You've actually snatched the words out of my heart and mind. This is one area where we can focus, and I very strongly say the future of any nation lies in the youth, in the hands of the youth. So if the youth can be sharpened, groomed, or can be enhanced, then also it motivates that particular youth to perform extremely well or beyond well, like within their own hearts and minds. Whether it's any industry, whether it's this sector or any textile or auto, whatever it is, any worker in any industry needs to be inspired. Why am I going to do this? So, excuse me. So teachers play a really very important role. But for them to teach, to educate, they first need to grasp themselves and to learn. And that can be really done with the help of the corporate sector. I'm going to combine these 3 things into one big thing, because it is like each one teach one. It is like joining hands. It is not that the teachers can do on its own. Teachers are ready to do it, but they need assistance. And corporate sector has a very important role, especially the corporate sector within this industry, like airlines as an example. They always will have a budget that this is what we need to do in this year. So that budget should also be to educate the teachers who can further educate the youth. So it's a chain which is connected, one with the second with the third. Coming back to the curriculum in the school, I do want to share something with you. In Canada, and I can say that because my daughter is a part of that, it is a vocational subject. Now they have 2. One is the vocational, which is optional. One is vocational, which is mandatory. So under the vocational, which is mandatory for at least 1 year, tourism and hospitality sector is a subject by itself. They will tell you why it is important, because it is very, very, it's an ingredient for mental wellness. It refreshes your mind. Tourism sector, we're not talking, and excuse me for saying this, I have nothing against doctors and all, we need them as well, but we're not talking about sickness and blood and hospitals. We're not talking something which will bring, a sadness on your face or a concern on your face. We're talking about tourism. And domestic, when we talk about the first, I can let you know that the South India, the Ayurveda, the oil massage, which drips from that earthen pot, is so popular in North America. People know it in and out. The yoga has been brought by whom? By India. India has given that to the world. So when I look, I feel very proud People are making efforts to learn more about it, to travel all the way to South India. But I would like to say that the domestic tourism should be the priority. The Indians should also, excuse me, travel within India to see how beautiful it is. And think about it, when you go out of your home, you will stay somewhere, you will eat the food from that state, you will contribute to the entrance fees. So what you're doing, you're actually contributing to the multiplier effect. As I said, India has one huge advantage: population count. We don't need people from all over the world to come to India to give an economic boost. Population of India is so high, that's a huge advantage in the sector, because they can go within themselves and the money stays within India. Eventually, what's going to happen, it will be distributed within India. And to do all of this, teachers have a very important role. And for teachers to have an important role, the corporate sector should join hands and to give a boost and enhancement to this sector.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for such a valuable input. I wish to know a little more about what you mentioned about your daughter, that in school education, in vocational, you mentioned about mandatory and optional. So that starts from which particular class?
It starts from grade 7th.
Grade 7th. Okay.
And goes to grade, So 7th is optional always.
7th is optional. Okay.
Yeah. 8th is you can choose mandatory or optional.
Okay.
And grade 9th is mandatory.
Wow. Wow. And thereafter, when they move up in the curve up to 12th?
So then it all becomes optional, because now you're stepping into your your profession that you that and you could include that too. You can include this sector as well. And tourism and hospitality, sorry interrupting you. They both are always joining hand. It's never tourism separately here. It is tourism and hospitality. Anybody can go to the Canadian education curriculum online and check. It's and it is by the government over here, because tourism, domestic especially over here, is a huge sector.
Yes.
It's a huge economical boosting sector.
So what I have noted down, I'll just Vikasji, 7th is optional, 8th is mandatory and optional, and in 9th it is mandatory, and tourism and hospitality are together, and 10th onward it is again optional. So by the time the child is totally proud of their own country's culture, heritage, values, whatever they have got, and they can enjoy that. That's something is which we were talking about. And the teachers training what you have got in Canada, I would request you maybe in the subsequent session somewhere. This is one point, if you can just take it up sometime in future, that equivalent to the B.Ed education, people, those are becoming teachers in Canada. Is there any kind of, the sprinkling effect or garnishing effect of tourism flavor coming as a spices into the main curriculum of teachers when they are undergoing education or becoming an educator training or academic program?
Sure. So teachers are actually trained themselves. There's a portal that they have to do as an online, and they have to be self-trained first. They have to actually attend the classes for them to further educate in this. It's a qualification that they need to achieve, which is followed with a written test. I actually happened to meet the teachers of my daughter's school, and she's in grade 10th now, but from the grade 7th onwards, I've been quite in touch with them. And they always say that we don't teach tourism. We make the students feel the sector. So there are two ways to sell, right? So they would like to teach. One is, so and so mountain ranges are there, like Aravallis is in India. So and so rivers are flowing. The Satluj is there, the Bias is there, and all of those. That is one way. But what they say, imagine that you're on the top of the Aravalli Hills. Imagine the beautiful landscape beneath your feet. They really make you feel. So teachers take a lot of pride in teaching students about this sector.
Wow.
Like, it comes from the heart. And you
Lovely.
actually feel, oh my God, I really want to go to the
Okay. Because we are the dream merchants. We sell dreams in travel
Correct.
and tourism industry. We
That's
sell
right.
dreams. That's something is fantastic. That something is amazing. And how technology is seeping into the tourism and hospitality industry of Canada.
So, excuse me, thank you for mentioning this because the technical side of the tourism industry is connected with the economic growth directly.
Okay.
So there was a time that everything was being depending on something called GDS, the Global Distribution System. It is a software which not everybody loves to learn because it's very, very technical. So it is highly command oriented. It is very in depth. But what happened is that with the technological advancement in the sector, everything was shifted into the web based. Now we know all over the world, like we have Make My Trip in India, MakeMyTrip.com, we've got Expedia, we've got lots of websites within India as well. What happens? People just type on the website and the book, wherever, even if it's a hotel, it's a flight. But what's happening behind the scenes? The source comes from that portal. So, with the help of the technological advancement, it has become very easy for people within India to book wherever that they want to go within India itself, because it is just at the hands reach. So, and that eventually has given an economic growth. And I
Wow.
wish there is more and more things over there. Not only in India, it is all over the world. But I can tell you, and I'm proud to say from the bottom of my heart, the most of the technical advancement in this sector in Canada are Indians who are operating it. They are
Wow.
the developers. I have known not only in our company, like the place that I work has about almost 973 employees. And on the technical side, there's a team of almost 85 of them. Out of those 85, at least 75 or 76, if I really have to count, is from India. So you feel that who's the brain behind it? The brain behind this is
Uh,
our guys. The
wow.
brain, the brain. What we see is the theater stage, but the
Yes.
backstage is all brains are all from India. So India has huge potential. I feel the potential which India has in this sector, it can really, really achieve the 5 trillion, our honorable PMG's vision in this sector. We just have to join hands and give this economic boost to this sector.
Wow, that's great. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing from Mr. Vikas Malhotra, the tourism strategist from Canada, who always spares his valuable time to be with us. It's a Sunday early morning when people want to sleep and they want to take the quilt on the top in the cold weather. But he's right over here with us to boost India's economy and to bring the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of India. Let's move to 5 trillion and beyond. And boys and girls, those are interested to join travel and tourism industry, and people those are interested to become tourism vocational teachers, all of us together, let's move on, and we meet next week depending on the convenience of Mr. Vikas Malhotra. Once again, we travel to Canada, we enjoy with him the deliberations, and of course that becomes celebrations whenever he is with us. Thank you. Wish you a wonderful day ahead. And
Thank you so
all
much.
our global audience, stay fit, stay fine, enjoy yourself. It's a green morning and